Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our weekly art-based meditation brought to you by the National Museum of Asian Art. I'm Demi Mohammed, the museum's public programs coordinator, and I'm thankful that you've chosen to take this time to share with us. Today's meditation will be led by Phil as we focus on a painting from our new exhibition, A Splendid Land, Paintings from Royal Udaipur. This beautiful painting of watercolor and gold depicts Maharana Amar Singh II. There are so many intricate details, so I'm excited to see what you each see and take away from it. Again, we thank you for joining us, and I'll pass it to Phil to get us started.
Well, hello, everyone. My name, as Demi said, is Phil Bender, and I'm so glad to have another opportunity to join you today for a meditation and a close viewing of a work from the collection of the Smithsonian's National Museum of Asian Art. During our time together, we'll gather our attention and then open our awareness in a visual and auditory way. And in this manner, we might encounter a kind of basic stillness and turn that basic stillness to the work itself, orient ourselves in a general way, and then see if we might immerse ourselves into the work. The work is called, as Demi said, Maharana Amar Singh II in Udaipur during a monsoon downpour. And that title is a mouthful, and in a way, it is a feast for the senses. It dates to about 1700 CE during the Sisodia dynasty and the reign, of course, of the Maharana Amar Singh II. You can see this newly restored work in person at the museum as part of the exhibit, A Splendid Land, Paintings from Royal Udaipur. And that runs through May 4th, 2023. And I really encourage you to come because it is a fully immersive experience to look at these works and to see how the museum has put them together in such a glorious way. But for the time being, let's prepare to relax a little bit. We'll do a gentle breathing technique and then connect with our mind's capacity for basic clarity so that the work might come alive for us and in us. If any aspect of the practice seems inaccessible or unclear, just relax and stay with your breath. All right, so let's head into our little practice. And I encourage you, even before we get too comfortable, to move a little bit. So let's stretch our arms up into the air, maybe take a breath here, and then exhale and let the arms come down nice and heavy. Heavy arms means heavy shoulders that relax away from the ears. And we might do this again. We might inhale, raise the arms. And exhale, lower them. Let's do this a couple more times. Inhale. Heavy arms. Last one. And exhale and settle. Now, just as your arms and hands start to relax a little bit, make any adjustments you might need to be extra comfortable. Feel supported in whatever posture you're choosing today. Maybe your body says, hey, I could use a little support to the low back. Feel free to grab a pillow or a blanket to do that. Now, also for the time being, let's have our eyes open and gently relax the gaze. So we can still be aware visually of our environment, what's playing out on the screen in front of us, yet the eyes are a little softer, as if we're looking out the bottom third of our eyes. And let this disposition of the eyes inform a relaxed face. Shoulders and arms. The chest and the belly, noticing if there's any gripping or holding that can be relaxed. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Let your seat be heavy. Relax the hips, the knees, ankles, and feet. Now let's play with our awareness of space a little bit. And to do that, I invite you to bring your hands up, maybe about 1.5 feet apart. And I invite you to look through that gap between the hands. You could look at one hand, you could look at the other, but here we're looking between. And let's change the position of the hands, yet retain some of that space between. So adjusting hands, I've got one lower than the other. And again, looking through that space, aware of space. Gaze soft. Let's change the orientation of the hands, the other hand toward the top. Again, looking through. Good. And then return the hands toward each other. And even though they approach each other and the space becomes smaller, we can still look through the gap. Now let's move with the breath. Inhale, move one hand away. Exhale, return. Inhale, the other hand moves away. Exhale, return. Inhale both. And exhale, return. We'll keep this pattern of movement going. Inhaling away, exhaling, returning. But as we proceed, let's maintain curiosity or awareness of the gap between the hands. We're welcome to adjust the shape, maybe make it bigger. Yet still present to the space between. in that awareness of space and the gap, is there a little opportunity to experience stillness? A kind of basic clarity of mind. Let's do this just one more round. Take your time. Eventually, when you finish that last round, rest your hands comfortably, perhaps on your thighs or in your lap. Make any adjustments to your seat that you'd like to be extra comfortable while maintaining this basic openness. And see too if you can include in this basic visual openness a sense of a broad auditory field. Hearing sounds from all around, all at once. Underneath the busyness of thinking is a vast spaciousness of awareness. Spaciousness that can contain the whole visual field, all the sounds of a broad auditory field. Now rest there for a moment, gently breathing. Now I invite you to close your eyes and see if your auditory field can remain broad. There's nothing really to think about, just simply be present. Now, very gently begin to open your eyes and orient your attention to the image as it appears on your screen. There's a lot going on, playing out in this broad container of the canvas. And let's just orient ourselves first in a very general way. We have in the upper left quadrant the city palace of Udaipur. And something's going on inside the palace and outside. And something else seems to be occurring here in this broad expanse. We have the walls to the palace. And to the right of the walls, the city itself. Udaipur is a city of lakes and man-made reservoirs. In the midst of the Aravalli Mountains, the top right. Now let's immerse ourselves a bit, moving in a little closer to the top right. Just notice quietly what is going on. The arrival of rain, the wet summer monsoon. And as you notice what's going on here, can you imagine the sounds present? What sounds are evoked in this part of the painting? As the rain falls, we might notice some of the bodies of water and the effect of the rain as it touches the surfaces of the water. How would the sound change? Can we imagine that different sound as the water ruffles the surface of the lake? As we move into other parts of the painting, we begin to notice people and animals and activities like these boats on the water. What is your visceral response to seeing these boats on the lake? What do you hear? Maybe certain smells are evoked. Maybe voices. So we scroll down to look into the town itself. Indeed, there's more activity just outside the walls of the palace. Seems to be a bustling town, especially near the palace. What might we hear as this elephant rider, this mahout, guides his elephant toward the gate? And what is the response of the guard at the gate? Notice what else comes alive for you as we pass through the principal gate entrance and move inward. What do you hear? What do you smell? What is your overall feeling of this place? Something interesting is occurring right here to our left. These four men working diligently at something, unclear at the moment. We'll return to that in just a bit. As we take in more of the palace, this impressive and gorgeous palace, we begin to notice the courtiers gathering in the presence of the Maharana Amar Singh II, who appears here, fanned in the summer heat. And here he seems to be in the presence of men holding objects, shields. What sounds do you hear in this part of the painting? What does it evoke? We see more courtiers and an interesting detail. This group has placed shields on top of their heads, perhaps to protect them from the rain. Imagine the sounds of raindrops striking their shields. And how that might interfere with hearing what the Maharana has to say. And yet they're attentive. Let's continue to tour this painting, returning to those men who are diligently active, doing something at this second gate. And if we look closely, we can start to see an elephant. Yes, its trunk visible, tusk, its full body, and a chain about its right back foot. A chain that seems to be loose, untied. What sounds might this evoke in your imagination? Can you hear it? Perhaps that sound grows louder as we recognize that this is not just an isolated incident, but in this elephant zone, there's much going on. Perhaps this portion tells a story of interaction with elephants once tied to these stones who somehow break loose and have to be reined in. There's great energy here, vitality. What might that say about a ruler who so calmly sits amidst the vitality of life, its incredible abundance? What might it say about a palace that allows such cacophony and vitality to coexist with the regal entourage? What might it say about a city that fosters abundance? An abundance made possible by the summer monsoon, life-giving rain. Now, you might make a note of what stood out for you in this exploration. Maybe there was a particular sound or sensation that came forward, or an observation or insight. Note it, and perhaps consider sharing it with us in the chat. Before we do so, I will pause the share and invite you all to rest one hand on your heart, the other hand on top, and to bow to one another in peace, peace, peace.